In 1963, a man in central Turkey was knocking down a wall in his home. He wanted more storage space, nothing more. But behind that wall, there was no stone. There was no soil. There was a tunnel. And that tunnel didn't lead to a basement. It didn't lead to a cellar. It led down and down and down again, through corridors carved by hands that had no power tools, no steel, no modern machinery, past ventilation shafts stretching 80 meters into darkness, past chambers big enough to hold thousands of people, past wells, chapels, wine presses, and stables carved 18 stories beneath the earth. He had just found a city built to disappear. Not abandoned by accident, but hidden on purpose by people who believed that one day they would need to vanish from the surface of the earth completely and survive. This is not the only one. Beneath the deserts of Australia, beneath the streets of Beijing, beneath the fields of northern France, beneath the mountains of the American West, there are cities that were never meant to be found. Tonight, we go underground. Because some of the greatest secrets in human history were never buried by time. They were buried on purpose. Throughout history, humans have looked at the earth beneath their feet not as a barrier, but as a refuge. When the surface world became too dangerous, war, persecution, invasion, climate, or simply the crushing heat of the sun, some civilizations didn't build higher, they built deeper. They didn't leave records, they didn't leave signs. In many cases, they didn't want to be found, not by invading armies, not by future explorers, and sometimes not even by their own descendants. What we're about to explore are places built with such secrecy and ingenuity that some remained completely unknown until the last century. Others are still being mapped today, and a few, experts believe, remain undiscovered, sealed somewhere beneath our feet right now. We'll travel through 6 continents. We'll descend through Cold War bunkers, ancient refuges, desert opal mines, and war-shattered tunnel networks. Each one asks the same question. What does it take for a civilization to disappear underground? And why? Let's begin where our story started, Turkey. This is Cappadocia in central Turkey, a landscape so strange it looks almost lunar. Soft volcanic rock, called tuff, rises out of the earth in cones and towers, shaped over millions of years by wind and rain. But the real wonder here isn't above ground, it's below it. Derinkuyu, meaning deep well, is the largest excavated underground city ever discovered. And city is not an exaggeration. 18 levels, descending more than 85 meters, nearly 280 feet into the earth. Enough space, researchers estimate, to shelter between 20,000 and 50,000 people, along with their livestock and food stores for months at a time. Think about what that means. This wasn't a bunker. It wasn't a hiding hole. It was a fully functioning subterranean civilization, complete with wine and oil presses, ventilation shafts, some running the full depth of the city, engineered to circulate fresh air to every level. Stables for animals, positioned near the entrance so livestock wouldn't need to be led far underground. Communal kitchens with soot-blackened ceilings. Churches and chapels carved directly into the rock. Wells that could not be poisoned from the surface, sealed off from surface access entirely. Massive circular stone doors, some weighing over 200 kilograms, that could only be rolled shut from the inside, sealing intruders out. That last detail matters. These doors weren't for privacy. They were defensive architecture, designed by people who expected at some point to be under siege. Historians believe the earliest tunnels may date back to the Phrygians, around the 8th to 7th century BCE. But the city was massively expanded by early Christian communities hiding from Roman persecution, and later from Arab raids during the 7th to 10th centuries. And Derinkuyu wasn't alone down there. A tunnel roughly 8 kilometers long is believed to connect it to another underground city entirely, Kaymakli, suggesting an entire underground region, a hidden network of settlements linked beneath the surface, invisible to anyone walking above. For centuries, local families used the upper levels for storage, barely aware of how far the tunnels actually descended. It wasn't until that 1963 renovation that the full scale was rediscovered, and excavation continues to this day. As recently as 2014, construction work near Nevşehir Castle uncovered what may be an even larger underground city, still being explored. Which raises the question historians can't yet answer. How many more of these cities are still down there, undiscovered, beneath the villages of Cappadocia?
6,000 kilometers east, China holds its own underground mysteries, some ancient, some far more recent. In 1992, a farmer in Longyu County was draining a pond his family believed was bottomless. What his pumps revealed wasn't water-filled sediment. It was a ceiling. Beneath the pond lay a series of vast man-made caverns, soaring chambers with smooth, deliberately chiseled walls and ceilings, supported by carved stone pillars, some etched with patterns of parallel lines whose purpose is still debated. 24 caverns have been found so far in the area, each large enough to hold hundreds of people, with no historical record, no scroll, no inscription, no local legend explaining who built them or why. Radiocarbon and stylistic analysis suggest the caverns may be at least 2,000 years old, but without written records, their true origin remains one of China's most confounding archaeological puzzles. And then there's Dixiacheng, Beijing's underground city, a very different kind of secret. Built in the 1970s under orders from Chairman Mao amid fears of Soviet nuclear attack, an estimated 300,000 residents were mobilized to dig tunnels beneath the capital by hand. The result? A subterranean network reportedly spanning over 30 square kilometers, connecting to more than 90 access points hidden inside ordinary shops, homes, and factories across the city. Designed so that in the event of an attack, virtually the entire population of central Beijing could disappear underground within minutes. It contained warehouses, a grain depot, a roller skating rink, even a proposed underground railway line. For decades, it was a state secret. Today, portions are open for guided tours, a Cold War time capsule, still smelling faintly of the concrete that was poured in fear over half a century ago. In northern France, beneath the quiet village of Naours, lies a network that has been rediscovered twice. Originally quarried for limestone in the Middle Ages, the tunnels here were expanded by local villagers starting in the 17th century, during the brutal religious and territorial wars that repeatedly swept through the region. Entire communities would vanish underground for weeks, sometimes months, waiting for armies to pass. At its peak, the underground city of Naours held stables, bakeries, chapels, and enough space for over 3,000 people, arranged along more than 2 kilometers of mapped tunnels, some of which are still being explored today. By the 19th century, the tunnels had been forgotten, sealed by time and disuse, until a local priest rediscovered them in 1887. But the strangest chapter came decades later. During the First World War, soldiers stationed nearby, Australian, British, American, and German, discovered the tunnels and left their mark, carving thousands of names, units, and hometowns into the soft limestone walls. Over 2,000 inscriptions have been cataloged, an accidental war memorial hidden inside a medieval refuge, buried twice over by history.
Welcome to Coober Pedy, South Australia, a town in one of the most punishing climates on the planet, where summer surface temperatures regularly exceed 50 degrees Celsius, or well over 120 Fahrenheit. Opal was discovered here in 1915, and prospectors flooded in. But the desert sun made surface living nearly unbearable. So people did something remarkably practical. They moved underground. Today, an estimated 60 to 80% of Coober Pedy's roughly 3,500 residents live in dugouts, homes carved directly into the sandstone hillsides. Underground, the temperature stays a stable and comfortable 23 to 25 degrees Celsius year-round. No air conditioning, no heating, just the natural insulation of solid rock. And these aren't crude caves. Coober Pedy's underground includes multiple churches, including a Serbian Orthodox church carved entirely from rock. Underground hotels, with rooms and hallways bored directly into sandstone. Bars, bookstores, and even an underground golf course. Private homes with multiple bedrooms, kitchens, and living rooms, some spanning hundreds of square meters.
Unlike the ancient hidden cities built for secrecy or defense, Coober Pedy is proof of a different kind of underground instinct. Not to hide from an enemy, but to hide from the sun itself. It's a working blueprint, some architects argue, for how future cities might survive on an increasingly overheating planet.
Not every underground city was built by ancient hands. Some are barely 50 years old, built not to survive invasion, but to survive the end of the world itself. In the mountains of West Virginia, beneath the luxurious Greenbrier Resort, the United States government secretly built a bunker designed to house the entire United States Congress in the event of nuclear war. Codenamed Project Greek Island, it remained a classified secret for over 3 decades, hidden in plain sight beneath a 5-star hotel, complete with a fake conference room used as cover for the blast doors behind it. It was only exposed publicly in 1992, after a newspaper investigation forced its declassification. Similar Cold War refuges exist across the world, in the mountains outside Moscow, in the hills of Albania, where dictator Enver Hoxha ordered the construction of over 170,000 individual bunkers across the entire country, roughly 1 bunker for every 11 citizens. A paranoid nationwide fortress built against an invasion that never came.
Many of these bunkers still exist today. Some have been turned into museums. Others, particularly in remote regions, remain sealed, their locations known only in old military records, waiting, still, for a war that never arrived. For every underground city we've mapped, cataloged, and opened to tourists, historians and archaeologists agree there are almost certainly more we haven't found. Cappadocia alone is believed to contain dozens of undiscovered chambers, based on the sheer density of soft volcanic rock across the region, and the frequency with which new tunnels are still being found beneath ordinary homes. In China, the Longyu Caverns raise a question nobody can answer. If a project of that scale, moving an estimated equivalent of tens of thousands of cubic meters of rock, could vanish completely from written history, what else might be missing from the record entirely? And in regions scarred by centuries of war, France, Belgium, the Middle East, old tunnel networks are still occasionally rediscovered by farmers, construction crews, and in some cases, by nothing more dramatic than a sinkhole opening in someone's backyard. The Earth, it turns out, keeps secrets extremely well.
What draws us to these places isn't just the engineering, or the mystery of who built them, or even the sheer scale of human effort involved in carving a city out of solid rock by hand. It's what they represent. Every underground city on this list was built out of the same instinct. When the surface world becomes unbearable, through war, persecution, climate, or fear, human beings do not simply give up. They adapt. They dig. They build somewhere the danger can't follow. And somewhere out there, right now, in the deserts of Turkey, in the hills of Albania, in the limestone beneath forgotten French villages, there are still doors that haven't been opened, tunnels that haven't been mapped, cities that are still, after all this time, exactly what their builders intended them to be: hidden.